No sé si el qué emoción saldrá, pero bueno, a ver, vamos a ver. Ahora sí, ahora estoy viendo el stream. Vamos a ver si puedo pasar a la visión de chat. Un momento, por favor. Y aquí estamos. Bienvenidos a Alexa Office Hours, el último del año, el último de 2020. Y para mí es un honor. Hoy tengo unos invitados de lujo, como pueden ver en pantalla. Espero que estén escuchando bien. Para cualquiera que esté en el chat, si alguien me puede confirmar que no hay ecos y esas cosas, porque siempre es un gran desafío hacer un streaming cuando salen muchas personas. Siempre hay algún eco que se mete ahí donde no debe, etcétera. Así que si alguien me puede confirmar que sale todo bien. A ver si adivinan quiénes son. ¿Quiénes son estos personajes que tengo aquí en pantalla? Eh, Supón que alguien no te conoce. Kini, ¿te quieres decir a qué te dedicas? ¿Y quién eres? Ah,
Suponemos
sí,
que no me
supón que nadie
conoce.
te conoce, que es imposible. Pero bueno, vamos a suponer.
Yo soy
Mm,
Kini, trabajo en Telefónica, llevo ya años ahí, que entré en el equipo que hacía la red social 20 y llevo un par de años haciendo cosas con Alexa.
Uh,
Desde
espera,
este
Kini.
año
Tenemos que
metido.
pasar a
Dime.
inglés.
Ah, ok, ok.
Sorry, now it's in English, okay? Don't don't go away, okay? Mm. So you said
Okay,
you
so
work for
yeah,
Telefónica, right?
I have to
Yeah.
start over. Yeah. I'm working in Telefonica right now for 7 years already. I've been doing some stuff with Alexa for the last 2 years. People say in the chat that we have to keep in
Well, I think
Spanish.
that I think that Fair obviously prefers that, but for the benefit of other people connecting that speak English, we should switch to English. I'm sorry, Fair. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Next time. And you guys are doing
Yeah.
just fine
So
with English, so it's not a problem.
this year, I'm Alexa champion in
Hmm.
January.
Congrats.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, thank you. And right now, people is using one of my skills because I'm collaborating with a
Hmm.
Spanish comedian, Ángel
Hmm.
Martín. Yeah, so this is a skill that many people is using right now. It's just it was an audio skill until last Monday because now you have also the video in the skill. So this is great. It's more or less 1,000 unique
Hmm.
customer for day. So it's really great.
I think I'm
Yeah.
going to come back to you for more details because you've been doing great, like a great infrastructure behind that skill. So
Yeah.
we will come back to that. But let me give an opportunity to introduce themselves to the others. Nieves, everybody knows you too, right? so, so
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I'm not well known, I think, but yeah, my name is Nieves. I'm founder of Monoceros Lab, an innovation studio that we are building Alexa skills in
Hmm.
Spanish. So we are focused on building conversational experience for this language. That's the reason we started all of us speaking Spanish too.
That's
So
right. It's just we're
yeah.
used to it, So.
Yeah. And well, I've been working with dialogue systems since I started my research on
Yeah.
university. I started a PhD, but finally I quit, and then I started working in an innovation department for a tech company, also here in Spain, and I specialize in conversational interfaces. So that's why I'm founder of Monoceros Lab.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember those times when you had to train the technology to be able to understand you. Basically, it was a speaker-based training that you had to do,
Yeah.
providing samples. Do you remember that? It was like a pain.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't matter, if you have an accent or
Yeah.
whatever. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the life.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Nieves. I have a special question for you, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to do it later. You have to remind me and you have to tell me, Herman, what's that special question that you have for me? Okay? At some point in the
Okay.
stream. Okay,
Okay.
now
Okay.
now Xavi, your turn. Everybody knows you too, so suppose nobody knows you. Hmm.
Okay, I'm Xavi. I'm currently working at Ericsson, building its new 5G technologies, cloud native ones. And in my free time, I usually spend this free time building Alexa skills and focus. Well, I'm currently focused on building dev tools and automate things around the Alexa ecosystem. And I think that's it. I have one. Well, I'm finishing the first book
Nice.
written in Spanish.
About
The
about Alexa
technical about
development,
Alexa,
right?
yes.
Alexa for developers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Really nice.
The
I
first
had a
one.
chance to take a look at that.
Skinny helped us a
Nice,
lot.
skinny.
Yeah. And well, I think the plan is to launch the book. I mean, before the 2021 in December.
That's really nice.
So we are working on it with Lucio, which is who is the Alexa champion from
Hmm.
Mexico, and with Kini, who is the technical
Nice, skinny. That's
reviewer.
I.
Just a reviewer, I only checking for the mistakes. That's all.
So for those of you that just joined, Xavi here is the alias is Xavidop in Twitter. He's working with a colleague on a book about Alexa development, right? So initially it's going to be
Yeah,
available in Spanish, but maybe later we have it in English, right? Maybe.
yeah, that's the
Okay.
idea. First of all, we are going to launch it in Spanish. Then we're going to have to collect all the feedback to improve the
Hmm.
book and fix
Yeah.
anything. And then the idea is to translate it to English.
Really nice. So, and Kenny here is going to do the technical review, so you can be sure that there's going to be no mistakes in the book, right? Because Kenny is
Zero mistakes.
zero mistakes. Because Kenny
That's the
works
idea.
also as QA, right? So you have like a sharp eye on detecting
Yeah, yeah.
errors.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say that I had the opportunity to read the book already, and I think it's very very complete. It's full of details
Hmm.
and cover a lot of
A lot of
topics,
topics.
because it's really difficult to actually to cover everything in Alexa, because I was talking with Xavi about that, and it's not possible in only one book. And then if you don't use uh, different new
Hmm.
section or new version of
Hmm.
the book, it's
Yeah.
impossible. So I think that for the first book in Spanish about Alexa is
Hmm.
great, because it's covered from zero
To
to,
hero.
yeah, right. And
I
I'm excited about that.
there was like a gap there with the video. So yeah, if guys, please, if anybody in the chat sees that we get frozen or audio is bad, etc., please chime in immediately so we can fix it. Okay. But so far,
Okay.
so far, so good. Yeah, I think that the major challenge is keeping up to date when you create a book, right? Especially with a technology that is changing all the time. It's going to be difficult, but maybe you can create like new versions, maybe every couple of years, something like that, and maybe create appendixes, stuff like that. Also, it would be really nice to have like companion source code, for people to
Yeah.
to be able to try, which is something that it's very common in computer books, where you have the book
Yeah.
and you have the repository, right, where you can go and check, etc. But in any case, you can also point to our own demos and projects, etc. When you want to illustrate something, I think that's good enough.
Yeah, we are building the book chapter by chapter, and then we have the GitHub repository where you can find all the code built in every chapter.
Oh, that's awesome. Excellent. So we have a lot of people joining, a lot of people that actually know you guys, and they're saying, "How? Why so many familiar faces, etc." We have Hawk 2000, Sela.b, we have Meleanas, we have a lot of people, probably more people that are shy and are not just saying hi. But if you could just type the country where you are right now, we have Gold Zulu. Just type in the country where you're watching from, okay? If you want to help us, so we know the how we are spreading across the world, with this.
Yeah, so people
Gonzalo is
don't be shy because we are talking English, so more shy than us now.
Yeah,
Right now,
absolutely. This
it's
is like
impossible.
we only know how to speak in Spanish, all of us here, and we are just swinging it with the speaking in English and trying to do our best here. So bear with us right now. But we have interesting things related to Alexa, that's for sure. Okay, so
yeah.
oh wow, so we have UK, France, Germany, Spain, USA. Wow, that's awesome. That's
You
awesome.
say.
And we Fer did not chime in. Fer is probably in Argentina, and that's what I wanted to see there. But never mind, it's fine. All right, so let's keep let's start talking about what we are doing, okay? And maybe it's more interesting to hear about you guys. So maybe we can start with Kini and coming back to your project, because I know that your experiment, with this comedian, is doing great so far, because you've shown some
Yeah.
interesting numbers on Twitter about all the analytics, all the big let's say reception that you're having with the skill, etc. It's very very useful. As you know, it's very difficult to get information about what's happening in terms of analytics for the whole ecosystem. That's something very difficult to
Yeah.
get. But these kinds of skills, like the one you created, are a good proxy to understand maybe how successful a skill related to a comedian or an actor or something like that can become. Would you say that you got like a very good results in a short time? That's true, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is like you say that this started like an experiment because Angel Martin, that is the comedian, text me on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked me about creating the skill because he's doing a news briefing in Twitter every day, 2 minutes on video. People were asking him to create an skill
Mm-hmm.
for Alexa, but he didn't know how to do
Right,
that. No?
right.
So he found my post
Mm-hmm.
about creating a skill and so on. So he decided to text me on Twitter, so you can imagine my face when I saw a message from Angel Martin, because I'm a very big fan of Angel from many years ago. So
Yeah.
Kenny,
you can imagine my face at
Kenny,
that moment.
Kenny, one quick question, and then you continue with
Yeah.
what you're
Tell me.
explaining. Just one quick question for those people in different countries, they are not familiar with the Spanish comedians, etc. Angel Martin would be equivalent to what, like American comedian, or what comedian from? It's super popular, right?
Yeah, it's like he has a humor that maybe you hate it or you love it. This kind of,
Yeah,
and I don't
polarized.
know if, yeah. There are several comedians around the world that you can say it is more or less the same. I don't know in UK or in the States,
Okay,
to be honest, I don't know.
but you would
But
say it's like a top 10 comedian in Spain, right? For sure.
yeah, I think in the last 20 years or so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it could be.
Perfect. So you can continue. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I wanted to say that at the end, if you share something with the community, at the end of the day, it pays back.
Mhm.
Because I've been writing 2 years post, and I had, several visits, but not too much. And now suddenly one person that is really important in my universe related to humor or comedian just found me,
Mhm.
and gives me the opportunity to create that. And I get to that because I shared before.
Right.
So it's something that I like to say, because sometimes it's like you create something and no people is reaching your content. At the end, just one person reaches your content is a person that give you the opportunity to create something that matters. No?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, this is the case. I create so we started the experiment creating a skill just for the audio with the audio.
Mm-hmm.
So Alexa, you invoke the skill, and it's only the 2 minutes audio for the news of every day.
Mm-hmm.
At the end was only the day you ask for the news. Then I was releasing more versions.
Mm-hmm.
With you can ask different days. You can change the days saying, Alexa, the previous one, Alexa, the next one. Like a playlist.
Nice.
So people, yeah, maybe in a month, I created different versions, and I released the version in different period of time, because we try to validate the experiment, looking at the number, and then try to engage people, creating more ways to interact with the skill. And yeah, it works.
Nice.
It works.
What are the challenges of maintaining the skill day to day? Because I suppose that you get audios like every day, and you have to upload skills,
Yeah,
and you created some sort of infrastructure there. Can you comment on that?
yeah, yeah. Now it's pretty, pretty
Mm-hmm.
manual. I mean, I do everything on my own, but I create I have a CloudFront layer, because I using S3, but S3 is making charges. So in order to save money, I use CloudFront, and it's working really great, because maybe it's a 20% in saving,
Right.
And it's great.
So I'm going to share. I think we lost you for a second there, Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kenny, one sec.
And for
There you're back. I'm going to show el informativo de Ángel Martín, okay, which is the skill.
can hear me?
Yes.
Now, yes. I think that you have switched the mic.
Wow, so you have 5 stars here and 210 reviews already.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. 5
Yeah.
stars and a lot of reviews. That's almost impossible to achieve.
Nice. Nice. Almost zero non 5-star reviews, which is very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, there's only one angry guy with 1 star there saying, I don't like Angel Martin, I hate that. Right? That's the only one. Okay, so Kini, can you say something to make sure that we can hear you? No?
No.
Can you hear us? No? Kini, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so in the meantime, let's move to another project. Then we can come back to this. I think we still need to discuss it further because it's a very interesting experiment. And I like the fact that Kini is sharing everything. And because of sharing, this is how people actually found him to create this skill. So sharing is always good, okay? Sharing is always good, it's always great. And share a lot, because you get respect, you get jobs, you get a lot of stuff, okay? Okay, so it seems like Bluetooth died on Kini. That's why the headset is not working. And Nieves, is there something that you are doing that you can comment on? Because I know that you have like several secret projects, but maybe there's something that you can tell us.
Well, yeah, there is a huge one we've been working on for the last 6 months, more or less. We have been building an Alexa skill for meditation and mindfulness. So this is like a guide. Alexa guides you through all the content we have, and that is created by Spanish experts on the field. So people can engage choosing which course to do first, depending on the situation, depending on if it's at night or in the morning, and depending on the needs you have. So Alexa recommends the best thing to do, and is having a great success. We're building this skill is called Diana with Grupo Planeta, a huge group,
Nice.
editorial group in Spain. And this Alexa skill is being also available now in Mexico and in the US, but only for Spanish speakers.
Can you share a URL with me that I want to show it here? So it's in the Spanish Alexa skill store. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me check that.
Yeah.
This skills. I'm going to share it. Actually, that's a big group, and this is a huge skill, I would say, right?
Yeah. And the process of creating it's been so wonderful because we've been like collaborating with them and with experts on meditation to create the best Alexa skill. So we've learned a lot building it.
This is amazing,
Yeah.
and the process of developing it, etc., maintaining like let's say the different versions, etc. Do you have like using the same kind of stack for development, like for all your skills now, like in a semi-professional, professional way, or you are still adding new stuff, all the time and learning a lot with each one?
Yeah, we have to update
Okay.
our stack. We started with a very basic one, and we've been building and growing this because depending on the needs of the people who are building for, or depending on our needs, we need to update our framework and our stack. Yeah.
Nice. You're always learning DevOps, I would say, as you go, right? And speaking of DevOps, we have an expert here in the room. we have Xavi, and Xavi, I think that a lot of people, even us, here, learn a lot about maybe how to optimize the DevOps stack for an Alexa skill. I personally wanted to thank you for that and for sharing that, because most people are basically focusing on making that process super smooth with their skills, but they don't care about sharing, right? So I think that, as I said before, you learn a few lessons yourself while working with Alexa, and you share those lessons. So there are several articles that you have put out, and yeah, I like them all, right? So I always read them, even though I don't have a lot of time, and maybe I take a long time to get back to you, right? Very often, I always enjoy when I have the opportunity to sit down, maybe have a coffee and read an article like that, right? You know that I particularly like those kind of deep dives, etc. So, are you working on a new one or on a different thing?
Well, I have one that I think I have the code, but I have to write and publish before 2021, which is the Alexa skill auto deployer. So what I feel is just when I don't know how to explain it. It's an endpoint that you can make a request. So depending on the information that you send to the endpoint, will deploy the Alexa template that you will put on the request on your own cloud, on your AWS Alexa account.
Nice.
So with just a curl, you will be able to deploy Alexa skills wherever you want. I mean, whatever in your Alexa cloud. Only with just a curl using Circle CI and some scripting and the Ask CLI. And you can embed it, for instance, as a button in any web page. And that's, I think this is the last article that I have to write before 2021, and what I'm going to start in 2021 is I'm going. Well, I want to build some enablers, some dev tools, which are the MongoDB persistence
Nice.
adapter,
Nice addition.
because I need it, because the next step is I'm going to build an entire cloud native Alexa solution with using Kubernetes and Helm to build a Node.js Alexa skill and connect it to MongoDB.
Nice.
So it could be nice, I
I
think.
remember that when we started discussing one-click deployment of Alexa skills some time ago with you, I remember that you quickly came up with a solution to do it from Circle CI, and I remember how you were passing like parameters via environment variables to the CLI, which was really cool because the CLI you
Yeah.
always pass parameters via the command line, but you can always fill in like environment variables to create a deployment, even the tokens, for example. So you can quickly create
Yeah.
like maybe like in Kubernetes, image or something like that. That's basically taking those environment variables as parameters and basically doing a deploy suddenly, right? Or maybe create a skill, whatever you want to do. So that's really clever, and that's something that I would like to see. I think the Double Lab guys are already doing it. They have set up something where you click on a button and they create an Alexa hosted skill for you. Obviously, you need account linking with your developer
Yeah.
account. Otherwise, you don't know where to deploy, right, or where to create the skill. And I would like to see something like that like open source, because with something like that, and maybe with let's say adding one link or one URL to this button, it can be added to the README file of any open source project, right? And as soon as you land in that README file, you say, okay, click, and I have it installed, and that's what I would like to see. I never had the time to
Yeah.
get to it. Actually, maybe there are some parts that I still don't get enough and don't get them right, to actually do it. But if you can come up with something like that, I think that I will incorporate it to all my README files, in all my skills, and that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So Kenny, do we have you back? Can you say something?
Yeah, I think
Nice.
so.
He's back. Okay, so yeah, go.
Yeah, I don't know why, but my Bluetooth just
Yeah,
disconnect and everything
I
was,
have
yeah,
one of
but I'm okay.
one of
I'm
the
back.
one of the 10. I have 10 commandments. Okay, and I always write it down here. One of them is never trust Bluetooth. Okay.
Yeah, right. You are
Yeah.
totally right. Yeah.
Except if it's 4.0 or something like that. So, so Gosulu is saying nice challenge. Drool is. I think also is going to be super nice. I think it's totally doable. It's totally doable. The thing is that you need to have control to control some of the things that you need to use, right? I mean, you need to basically know how to do your DevOps, right? If you never use Circles AI,
Yeah.
for example, you're in trouble, right? Stuff like that. But in general, if you can be like, let's say, clever, you don't have to be like a genius, but if you can be clever about this, there are solutions out there that you can come up with. So I hope you can come up with something, Xavi. No pressure, okay?
Yeah, that's something that I have to take a
Yeah, and
look.
Gosulu got it right. He's saying LWA, login with Amazon, and the vendor ID, etc. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what you need, that kind of information
Yeah.
together. Yeah, go
The
ahead.
Yeah, the parameters are the tokens, the vendor ID, and then just the template that you want to deploy, and the branch of the templates has to be a Git
Hmm.
repo, and the branch that you want to deploy that
Perfect.
repo.
Can you send me a link? I would like to share with the audience a link to an article where you explain Circles AI and this. If you could share it with me,
Yeah.
it's a very nice read. I mean, you should definitely read it if you are interested. And actually, if you follow Xavi's steps, you can recreate it yourself. So it's step by step, which is pretty good. Okay, so thank you for giving me like this panorama of what you guys. I'm sure you're doing more stuff. We're always doing more stuff that we can. And on my side, let me see if I can give you like an update on my side. First of all, this is going to be the last stream of the year for me. We are coming back in 2021 with maybe new format, something like that. So this is the last like classic office hours. In any case, this is only for me. That means that the US guys are still doing the usual streams, etc. So you can always rely on them to go and check, what they're doing, and they have a great streams actually out there. So I think you're not going to be alone if I stop streaming right now. So when it comes to what I'm doing particularly, I'm now trying to focus more on device makers that want to incorporate Alexa in their devices. I think that on our side we've been covering a lot of the skills side, and I think personally we need more evangelism on the device side, because maybe some of you can find an opportunity to work maybe with a company or similar that wants a device, right? And suddenly the learning curve is a little steep. It's not like super smooth, right? So I will try to help in that area. I think that it is not as difficult as it seems, but we need more documentation. We need more videos. We need maybe office hours like this related to ABS. Everything we have right now is very US, happens in the US, but maybe we can do something like more international. So Godzulu has a comment here in the chat. I am doing that at the moment, Pi Zero with Alexa integration. That's a really great start. Raspberry Pi Zero is very, very small form factor, and with a company, that's even better. I thought you were doing it like for yourself, but if it's for a company, even better. Raspberry Pi Zero is amazing. The form factor, I bought it the first day it came out. I bought the Raspberry Pi Zero, right? And I started playing with it. And what I created is, I also created something called Zulu. I created an Alexa gadget with the Raspberry Pi Zero. So if you use the gadget API, you can have the Zero connect via Bluetooth and be a gadget. And that's also super interesting. Why? Because maybe you can get away with a simple solution that doesn't require you to embed Alexa in the device. Once you decide to embed Alexa in the device, if you want to make it a commercial product, you have to go through a lot of certifications, a lot of bureaucracy, because it has to be approved by Amazon, etc. So I'm not saying this to discourage it, but it makes sense because it's a Alexa branded the product out there, right? So it has to be checked. It has to make sure that the quality is super top, right? But maybe for a gadget, the things are more relaxed in the sense that the gadget is connecting to an existing Alexa device, right? And you just need to support this protocol for communication. And one really great example that I have here at home is a bear. I have a teddy bear that is like a robot, and it starts dancing when Alexa plays music, and it's really cute. It's really, really nice. I bought it in the US actually, and the protocol is it's very rich in the sense that this is not only passing messages between the Alexa and the gadget, but for example, if music is being played, you will get timing of that music, like the proper timing, so you can have the movements be synchronized with the device, etc. So you don't get simple messages. You get a lot of information about what's going on with the device, right? So you can leverage that to create a really nice gadget. So let me just mute my Alexa because I just woke it up. I always make the same rookie mistake. Just one second.
Yeah, I think this happened to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. That's the reason
Yeah.
I use a different wake word now in my device.
Yeah, I have this. I have a different wake word for mine. But for example, when I was creating the skill for Angel Martin, I record some videos in order to people know how to interact with the skill. So I record the video, I put on Twitter, and then people was watching the video with, loud, and Alexa started to wake up in every house,
Yeah.
when people were watching my video. So I say, yeah, this is the proof. It's working.
Yeah, I always say the same thing. I always say, like, we are improving a lot in wake word detection, and it's working awesome. And even when I say Alexa, just like whispering, for example, it would just wake up, and say, okay, we are victims of our own success in wayward detection. It's like it will catch me from the distance, and it will wake up. But here in this room, I always mute the wrong Alexa because a few of them are muted, but that one was not muted. I have like 8 devices in this part of the house, right, alone. So I really need a software. Maybe some of you can come up with something like that. It's going to be impossible, and I will tell you why. But suppose it would be awesome to have a software where I can say mute all my Alexas, and all my Alexas are muted suddenly. And that's impossible. Why? Because the muting is mechanical in the device. There's no API, there's no software that can mute and mute the device. When you go and you push that button, that is a mechanical switch, and you are done. That's muted. Until you go and push there, there's no way to unmute it. And that's a security and privacy feature that we added in the devices. There's no way to hack it to unmute it, basically. Okay, that's the point.
Important.
Makes sense.
So we don't have more questions, guys. Do you have any questions for these awesome people here? I mean, we have a lot of combined expertise here together in the same stream. So excluding
Germán,
myself.
In
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
meantime, I'm remembering you that you have a question for
Yes.
me. So I have
That's good.
That's true.
I have
I
a special question. So suppose someone comes to you and say, okay, I want to buy Monoceros. How much would they have to pay?
This is an offer from Amazon.
I don't have the answer yet, but I think I would say that it's very valuable. So that's the first step, to think that Monoceros is very, very valuable right now. And then we can negotiate.
I'm just joking. I'm not talking for Amazon or anything like that. But I just was curious. You know why I asked that? Because Opearlo was recently acquired by Matchbox.io, right? And I thought, like, wow, you can create a voice studio, right? Make it successful, and suddenly you're acquired, right? And that's probably like a big money transaction if you think about it. I don't think it's peanuts, right? So
and you are creating value, building a skill, so the skills have their own value, and you can everybody can buy you, and buy your own skills if they are like with great engagement and very valuable.
That's right, because you consider obviously the expertise of the people involved in a voice studio. Like, you have people that know how to design a skill, people that know how to code a skill. That's obvious, right? I mean, you are acquiring that when you acquire a company, but you are also acquiring a portfolio, right? Of skills, because those skills can be very popular, can be even become a brand eventually, something like that. Remember Angry Birds, for example, in apps, right? It was like Robio's great success. But let's stop in this example of Angry Birds. You know how many games Robio created before Angry Birds that were unknown? 50 games, and Angry Birds was the number 50, right? So the portfolio, if Robio got acquired at the time, the portfolio was much bigger than just Angry Birds. Basically, a lot of potential there, even though they didn't become popular. Maybe it was destiny, that they were not so popular. You don't know, but you have to keep trying, create skills, and then things start to happen. So that would be my advice for you guys that are super active with skills, etc. Don't stop. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Germán, I have
Go
a
ahead.
question for you. Yeah. No, I mean, now with the skill I'm working now, right now, people realize that they can use Alexa for more. I mean, you can see people on Twitter say, I can use Alexa for that. Alexa is just in a box. I don't use it at all. So now, with a simple skill that is only audio or video, that is also in Twitter, in YouTube, People say, no, I don't have to go to Twitter or YouTube. I just go wake up and my routine for good morning, or I in the kitchen, I have an Alexa Echo in the kitchen. I say just open the skill, whatever. So it's just right there. But people doesn't know already. I mean, it's like, what do you think is the expectation right now, the potential that people
Yeah.
think on this technology? I mean, comparing Spain with the States or with
Yeah,
other countries.
yeah, that's a very good question. And first, let's take it like in a generic at the generic level, right? Like not specifically focusing on skill, but this is in general. So the challenge that we always had is that when you have a mobile phone, for example, you have all the you can go to the Play Store and you have all the icons in your phone. Discoverability is easier on a screen-based device, like on a phone, for example. So
Yes.
when you install this box in a home like an Alexa, etc., how do you discover stuff? People have to stop being shy and they need to explore it with
Yeah.
voice, right? And if they don't know how to actually do things, they become frustrated. One of the interesting facts is that most of the people out there still don't know what a skill is, right? So that's a super
Yeah.
interesting fact because they don't have this concept of open that skill to do that, right? A lot of people would ask you
Yeah.
what is a skill, right? And that's super something to be worried about, right? Because we are doing this great effort, all of us creating skills, etc., and people suddenly don't know how to create skills. So first of all, we are trying to address discoverability, right? So in
Yeah.
discoverability, what we came up with so far is trying to put skills in your face without you actually mentioning the skills, because you might say something
Yeah.
that is relevant to a specific skill, right? And we might bring up that experience to you and that skill. So I think that we are going to improve. We are improving, and we are going to keep improving in that area where you will land on very interesting and relevant skills to you, but you don't remember the invocation name, you don't know how you got there, etc. Right? And this is especially becoming interesting when you consider, for example, technologies like Alexa Conversations that can actually
Yeah.
chain skills. Like, for example, suppose that you get started with this interaction where Alexa offers a skill, and then after that skill, and based on the context, and based on the skills that you have activated, and based on what you like to do, etc., maybe Alexa can offer a follow-up skill after that, right? And then suddenly you are in a
Yeah.
conversation and you are using multiple skills that are not necessarily Alexa native experiences. This can be third-party skills that get chained and they work together, and the discoverability becomes easier. Obviously, with voice, this is always going to be a challenge, and we are trying to fix this in this way. Suppose that your Angel
Yeah.
Martin skill, um, suppose that someone is asking for a joke, right? That might be a really good candidate, to put out there and say, okay, do you want to try this skill? Maybe some other type of skill for jokes, etc. So your skill will be present in context in a context where people did not ask for your skill. Okay. And why is that? Because it was relevant at that time for the specific request, right? Obviously, we're not just shuffling skills like crazy, It has to be relevant to a specific context. So, with
Yeah.
regards to Spain specifically, you ask about the behavior, etc. I think that in these 2 years, more than 2 years now, we launched in June, actually in October 2018, but we started like preparing everything a few months before that. I think that people got a lot of education out of what you can do with Alexa. Alexa is growing, right? It's growing in Spain a lot. More people are
Yeah.
using it, and more people are starting to see how it gets used. And they learn. They don't learn by maybe exploring Alexa. Sometimes they do, but they learn by seeing your tweets, maybe Kini, where you say how to do
Yeah.
something. Maybe a tweet of mine saying, for example, I just tweeted about how Alexa became a print center, where you can say, Alexa, discover my printer right now, and then you can say,
Yeah.
Alexa, print a maze, and Alexa will just print a maze for you, or a crosswords, something like that. So they learn by looking at videos, by looking at those tweets, etc. So they are being educated by the people in general by
others.
others, and they are
Yeah,
copying. But if it
referral.
doesn't become part
Yeah,
of the culture, then that doesn't happen. That starts to happen when this thing becomes part of the culture. That's happening. What I'm waiting for right now, and I think is going to be the big jump of Alexa in Spain, for example, is that it becomes a big part of TV, media, etc. Suppose when you see a commercial and you're seeing yes, say this to Alexa. Like we've seen this in the UK, for example, a lot with send me a sample, those kinds of use cases.
yeah,
It became very popular. That was a big jump for Alexa at that point because those campaigns were very successful, very, very successful. So the moment you start seeing that on TV and media, etc., that for me would mean like a milestone, at least for me, right? Personally, like a milestone will say, okay, now Alexa is part of the Spanish culture, right? For sure. So I would
yeah,
say that we're still not there because all the commercials that you see, I think, how many do we
yeah,
have with Alexa? I think none, right? Or maybe we had a couple before and then we have nothing. One thing, I'm,
yeah,
I'm not talking about
Yeah.
promoting Alexa like maybe a commercial created by Amazon, something like that. I'm talking about a different company that is saying, hey, try this in Alexa to the audience, and the audience is massive.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So that
Yeah.
that would be the turning
yeah,
point in my experience. I'm not sure if I am answering just your question, but otherwise we can clarify. Yeah.
No, yeah, yeah. I think now when people think about voice interfaces or voice assistant, I think Alexa is the number one everywhere because I think Amazon is promoting a lot about Alexa. Google is also a competitor here or wherever, but it's not like that. It's more like you want to reach more people. So Alexa is like the default.
Hmm.
The thing that people
Exactly.
is the first thing you can in your mind is voice assistant. Okay, it's Alexa. I think this is the reason because I create this skill and not thinking of people say to Angel about creating a Google Action. It's like people say Alexa was the first thing, even before Siri or everything.
yeah,
So I think I also waiting for the jump that you say before.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
next
That would
step.
be
Yeah, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
that would be the next step, and I think honestly, personally, think it's going to happen. Okay, so it's not something that
yeah,
is not going to happen. The question is when. It's not if. It's more when, right? And the other thing maybe that I would like to mention now that we are talking about this Alexa's role, right, is the voice interoperability initiative. I'm sharing this on the screen right
yeah,
now, and I think that this is interesting because this allows the playing field to be open, right? And to allow the multiple agents to be able to answer specific questions. And I think that when we get there, it's also going to be a big milestone, precisely because it's going to be the customer choice on what you want to use
yeah,
to experience something, right? I might want to use
yeah,
a specific agent, I might want to use a different one. And if you consider that in a single device you can use multiple agents, then you can have the best of all worlds, if you think about it. Because maybe some
yeah,
experience is available in a specific agent and it's not available in another
yeah,
agent, you just switch to that one and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's going to
yeah,
be very interesting. I'm also waiting for this, and see how it evolves. I'm monitoring.
yeah. Yeah, that kind of concepts are really cool. A few years ago, I heard also about the operative system of chatbots when chatbots
Hmm.
were rising, and everybody was using them or at least using small functionalities boxed in chatbots. So everybody wanted to know how they can use it together. So there were a concept, operative system of chatbots to think of this. And this concept is quite similar, but thinking bigger, thinking on assistants that you can use besides of voice, you can use them also in text or whatever,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah,
So
that's interesting, but as usual, you are well aware of this. As usual, you you cannot adapt experiences directly between chatbots and conversational
Yeah, of course.
agent, and voice agents, right? You have to maybe do some
Yeah,
magic there to. I think that
yeah,
maybe with chatbots you can go like richer with their. You can go longer in responses. You can provide more visual cues, stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because of the voice is ephemeral. So if you use voice as you use text in interfaces, people is going to forget what you think or what you are saying, and also the cognitive load and barriers you are creating to them, they are going to be so huge that people are quitting your
Yeah,
experiences
I
so
think
so
that
fast.
those are the first lessons that we learn when we start working with this, on the design side. And for example,
Yeah,
something very easy in a chatbot, share a link or URL, super easy. In
yeah,
voice, not that easy, right? So you would spell it, which is going to be crazy. But one thing that it's changing a lot in order to support those scenarios is different technologies. And one of the technologies that we announced during Alexa Live was Alexa for Apps. You probably heard about Alexa for Apps. So,
yeah,
so Alexa for
yeah,
Apps
Yeah.
is really nice because suppose that you want to maybe start a search or share a link or start a search that is not going to work via voice because I will have to give you like 50 results, right? And I cannot give you 50
yeah,
results via voice, right? But what if
no,
you have the companion app installed for that skill, right? Maybe I can point
yeah,
you to the app and open the app. So Alexa for Apps requires that you have the skill. Obviously, you have to have a skill, and requires
yeah,
that you associate it to a specific app. I mean, you want to point to a specific app, and then from the skill you would send a directive, which is like a sort of a deep link into an app. And you can
yeah,
tap into a deep link of an
Yeah.
app. And the example that we shown during Alexa Live was the TikTok app, where people will say, "Tell TikTok to start recording," right? And that would
yeah,
open the app on the phone magically, which is amazing, and would have TikTok start the recording. And it's really nice because you maybe
yeah,
have the camera there sitting somewhere, and it's like a remote control, right, for the camera.
yeah,
And yeah, so that's how we try to solve these limitations, and that's how this is
yeah,
becoming as interesting as a chat as what a chatbot can do, to some degrees.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
And that helps as well the
yes,
discoverability problem.
exactly.
Yeah,
So and I think that you share on Twitter another sample of how to open the Google Maps within Alexa skill, using Alexa skill
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
phone. That's another
that's
cool
very
idea
similar actually.
for
Yeah, it's
the
also a directive.
yeah,
It's also a directive that you will send, and that directive is generic enough so it would open the Maps application that you have in your phone as default. I think it doesn't have to be a specific one. It's basically calling map functionality within the phone.
yeah.
Xavi, can you share in the chat the link to the article that's with Circles AI?
No, I
in,
said
in
it
the chat,
before.
in the public chat. Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
just wanted to make sure. I just lost it
yeah,
because there
yeah,
are
yeah.
a lot of comments. We have a comment, and we are almost done. We have 7 minutes. We have a comment by Sela.b saying, is there a timeline when the ask toolkit will support APL 1.5? The I thought you were. Oh, the Ask toolkit. Sorry, I make a mistake by in my answer. Okay, I thought you were talking about the Smart Screen SDK. So I apologize before that. Just disregard my reply. Okay, you were talking about the Ask toolkit for Visual Studio Code. Now I understand that. No, I don't have a timeline for that. I'm sorry, but I will check with the team, possibly make a tweet about it, like saying, it's coming, it's not coming. I made a mistake, and let me just show you what how I made the mistake. Okay, Smart Screen SDK. For those of you that don't never heard of it, I just want you to know what it is. Okay, so the Smart Screen SDK is a technology that allows you to use super cool visuals in devices that incorporate Alexa. Okay, so we call them like Alexa built-in devices. So usually you would use the AVS SDK to support voice in a device, right? You incorporate the AVS SDK, you have voice. But what if the device has a screen? and you want visuals, and you want APL, etc., right? You would have to, on top of the ABS SDK, you have to incorporate the Smart Screen SDK. And the Smart Screen SDK has this component called the, let me see if I can, here, the APL Core Engine, okay? Which is APL, support for APL and for processing APL. And this was updated after APL 1.4, and now we are in 1.5, right? So 1.5 is not here yet. And I thought that was what the question was about, okay? So I'm sorry about that. Okay, so let me take a look at the questions now. The printing, can we send a document to get printed? Yes, I think that we showed some of that when we announced connections. Remember the links and connections when we announced like a private experiment that we were doing, and we started with Uber for you to be able to connect to a skill by calling a taxi, and also HP print in order to send a specific document. So yeah, I think it's possible, but I don't see it in the page that I shared. Okay, maybe I can give you more info later. Maybe if you can contact me privately about that, I can check with the team, because the page that I shared, and now just let me go and share it with you. One sec. This is really cool, actually. I think it's a great addition to what Alexa can do, to be honest. Let me see if I can find it. Wow, I tweet like crazy, man. This is just like crazy. Also a lot of retweets. Okay, so here. Okay, so this is one of my latest tweets, and I said, Alexa just became a print center. Try Alexa discover my printer. So that's how it starts, because you need to discover your printer. But once it's discovered, you can do all this, like Alexa print a test page, Alexa print my to-do list, Alexa print my shopping list. I don't see like a specific printing. I think that you can do it if you support it in your skill via that connections functionality that I told you about, because I saw that you could print the PDF, stuff like that. I saw code that can actually do that with connections, but I don't think it's part of the native experience, because the native experience cannot capture what you want to print. You know, I mean, where do I take that PDF from? Where do I take that image from? It's not possible in a native experience. So I think the native experience does not support it, but I think that you can support it in a skill if you are interested in having a skill that can print a document. Okay, if you have more info, just contact me and I can send you more information about that. All right, anything else that you guys want to add, talk about? Anybody has a special question for me or for the others? No? All right, I think we can wrap it up then, because we have 2 minutes to go. Let me see if we have a... Oh yes, I want to send a generated PDF from my skill to get printed. Yeah, I think that's possible. Just contact me. I don't know what providers are available. I think that we have one provider only, which is HP, but I know that there are directives to do that. So contact me and I'll send you some code. Okay, Godzulu. All right, so that's it for me. I have to be honest, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. I had a great time, and I wish all the office hours were like this. Okay, but unfortunately, I cannot have you all here at the same time. We missed Javi. I would also have liked to have Javi here,
Yeah.
but it's very difficult to coordinate and have everyone together here. So I appreciate your time. I know that it stole 1 hour from you, but it was super fun, super useful, and happy holidays to everybody. I hope you have happy holidays, and basically see you next year with these streams. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
The
Thank
pleasure
you.
is ours.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you,
You are
Fernando.
awesome.
Bye-bye.
You're awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.